Do you have an overflowing stash with fabric scraps? Me too, me too. It's time to tackle them, and as such I researched loads of fun clothing and accessory scrap busting ideas. Hi, my name is Matilda and welcome back to Miss Matti, the channel where I share all about sewing, knitting, mending, upcycling, and generally how to live an awesome and sustainable life. I have looked all over Instagram for fabric scrap busting ideas, and I've saved so many brilliant ideas from fellow sewists. And throughout this video, I will share some of my favorites. If you want to check out their Instagram further, I will link to everyone in the blog post accompanying this video. And in that blog post, I will also share any patterns or tutorial mentioned as well. One thing you can do with your scraps is to make fun accessories, such as hats, like bucket hats. Here we have my friend Kate from A Time to Sew wearing her Albert Textiles Sorrento bucket hat. I think Kate has made quite a few of these bucket hats, and as bucket hats have had a resurgence in the past couple of years, they would make such a great gift for anyone who is into this whole bucket hat trend. Albert Textiles has also a floppy hat pattern called serpentine hat, and Kate has also made this hat which she's modeling here, although this one wasn't for her but her mom. Another great hat pattern to do some scrap busting with is the dad cap pattern from Proper Fit Clothing. I found this pattern through Clara Sofia Falk. She has only shared her cap making process in her stories so far, but if she does share it on her grid, I will of course add photos here for you. Clara made her caps from fabric scraps as well as recycled parts of thrifted caps. I cannot believe I never thought about using recycled parts of thrifted caps. I am so tempted right now to go thrifting caps and make some for myself. Then we have this free keyhole scarf from Pearl Sew. Pearl Sew has loads of great free patterns that are great for scrap busting, including these really cute felted mittens that I think are so adorable. I also think making fabric belts is a great scrap busting idea. I'm currently planning to make a fabric belt for this paper bag skirt that I've had for absolutely ages. It came with a leather or faux leather tie belt, but then an old friend of mine borrowed the belt once and I have never seen that belt since. Ever since then, I have used another tie belt for this skirt as well as my leather belts, but I think it's time to finally make this skirt its own belt. I didn't find any tutorials for fabric belt exactly like I wanted, but I found these two really cute fabric belt ideas. This one here is from Sewy DIY here on YouTube, where she's making a fabric belt with eyelets and a fabric covered belt bucket, and that's a great idea to cover a belt bucket with some scrap fabric. And then we have this tutorial from Red Blossom Design where they share this fabric rope plated belt. I think it's such a great design and a fun scrap busting idea. Then you can make hair accessories, like maybe your own version of that very popular Prada headband that really gives me early 90s vibe. Here I will show you Lerge Bagger wearing hers, and if you don't follow Lerge on Instagram, you are missing out. hat. You can of course make other hair accessories like hair bows and scrunchies, but I think these are already included in majority of lists out there for scrap busting. What about making a loose or detachable collar? I think these are so cute. And this one here is from Stolk Hanneke, I think her name is on Instagram. And apparently this is from a free pattern from Tilly and the Buttons. And we love a free pattern. And on top of that, it's not only made from fabric remnants, it's also reversible. And when I was grabbing the pattern from Tilly and the Buttons website, I also came across these super cute snuggly booties. These would be perfect for any scraps of medium to heavyweight sweatshirt fabric, velour, fleece, woven cotton that you can use for the outer layer. And for the inner layer, think anything like velour, flannel, jersey, faux fur, anything snuggly and soft basically. This will definitely be a great scrap busting idea, as well as they will keep your feet warm. Another thing I just stumbled upon when I was researching ideas for this video was these super cute fabric shoelaces. I might try them out soon because they are so cute and I like fun shoelaces. Fanny packs are another great accessory scrap busting idea. I especially love these patchwork fanny packs by So Femme Knits. I got that in the end. The pattern is the Fennel Fanny Pack from Sarah Kirsten. Look for patterns that use very little fabric, such as underwear, pajama shorts, tops without sleeves. I'm sure if you've ever sewn with sleeves, you know that they eat up a lot of fabric. So one thing you can do is to consider with a pattern you might already have that has sleeves, maybe you can make it sleeveless. Here are some really cute knickers that Leem108 made on Instagram. They are made from a free pattern from Megan Nielsen, which is called Acacia. It's a really good pattern, it seems like. I haven't made anything from it yet, but it seems very popular. But this is of course not the only underwear pattern out there. I have collected some of my favorites in my blog post accompanying this video. So don't forget to go to the blog post to check out my suggestions on what you can make using small bits of fabric. And I got another idea from Clara Sofia Falk, faux polo necks, or at least that's what I think they're called. Let me know what the name is. Pieces like this. You know, the ones you can put under your jacket so it looks like you are wearing a sweater, but you're not. You're wearing this faux polo neck thing. But whatever the name is, they're just perfect to layer with in the winter. First, Clara made one for herself using remnants of wool jersey, and then her daughter loved it so much, so she made another one for her daughter, which I love even more because it's totally scrappy. The original pattern that she used is the Juno pattern from Mönsterfabriken. It's hoodie, sweatshirt and jacket pattern in one. However, she used the collar add-on design, which you need to buy separately. So you do not need to buy a specific pattern if you want to make your own faux polo neck, as you can just alter a pattern you already have, exactly like Clara did. And of course, you can make clothes for the little ones in your life. I don't have any little ones to make clothes for at the moment. But if you do, and you found some great scrap busting ideas to make clothes for kids, let us know in a comment down below, because I'm sure there are many fun scrap busting ideas for kids' clothes. I have a little bit of a quilted jacket obsession right now. There are so many beautiful ones on Instagram, both me-made and store-bought. I would love to make one, but I honestly do not know if I will get around to do it in the near future. Probably I will be able to do it in a couple of years. One quilted jacket that many people have made in patchwork designs is the Megan Nielsen Hovia jacket or coat. I found so many ones that I really like. Here are some of my favorites. And you can check out the hashtag MNHovia for more inspo. I also totally fell in love with this quilted jacket by So Much Ariel. It's so beautiful. I love the combination of the diagonal stripes at the top and the squares at the bottom and the beautiful sleeve design. This is the type of jacket that makes me want to make a quilted jacket now. And I also really like this Ajora jacket from Pauline Alice Patterns made by So DIY Patterns. I also really love the curry dress by Megan Nielsen. This is a pattern that I had my eyes on for quite some time, but I haven't had enough fabric in the same quality and a similar color scheme. But once I do, I will definitely make it. So like on Instagram, also made this awesome Durban jumpsuit from Megan Nielsen in this beautiful denim patchwork pattern. I mean, isn't this jumpsuit amazing? Follow a patchwork pattern from a quilter or just sew together randomly pieces of fabric until you have enough fabric to make something out of. And another thing to continue on from this is to play with block colors. You can mix and match, make a sleeve in one color, another sleeve in another color, or just divide up the bodies in different colors. One really cool block color design is this skirt here, which is inspired by Mondrian's paintings. I think this is such a cool idea and really just shows how creative you can be when you are using up your scraps. One designer to check out for inspiration when it comes to block color designs is Mara Hoffman. I really like these pants here, as well as these dresses. And I know that this one isn't a block color design, but because we're talking about Mara Hoffman, I just really like these little cute applique designs on these pieces too. I think this is another great way to use up scraps and make cute applique designs on your garments. But back to block color again. So like that I just mentioned earlier, I love her Instagram. She has so many fun designs where she has used a lot of these block coloring techniques that I was thinking of when I was writing the script for this video. And then I just discovered her Instagram and totally fell in love with the stuff she makes. And I was like, oh, she's made a lot of the things I've been thinking about but have yet to make. You can even pattern match and join two pieces of the same fabric together so that you all of a sudden have a bigger piece of fabric. For example, this beautiful Frida Kahlo printed fabric, which Melissa Lowry designed, joined together to create a bigger piece, and then made a Caroline pyjama button from Closet Core out of. You can also join two pieces of the same fabric together and utilize the seam as a design feature. You can top stitch it, you can add some lace on top of it, you can make an embroidery stitch. As always, when combining pieces together, bear the grain line in mind. If you cut it on the bias, it will be slightly stretchier, and as always, this can be utilized to your advantage, but it's just something to be aware of. Another fun way to play with your fabric scraps and utilize as much as possible is to play around with asymmetrical designs. It can be a skirt that is longer on one side than the other, like the one Kate from Time to Sew is wearing here, or it can be an asymmetrical shirt design like the one that also Margie has made of the Butterick 5786 pattern. I also found this beautiful asymmetrical hem dress by, what's her name? Lilith Little Tiff. I don't know how her username is pronounced, but it's a Vogue pattern. I think it's the 1490 design. Another idea is to add an asymmetrical section to your skirt, like this Muxin skirt design. I just really found this design super fun, and also look at those little braided details near the waist. I think that could also be a really good scrap busting design detail. And if asymmetrical designs are not your thing, maybe you can play around with the front section longer or shorter and vice versa. This is perfect for skirts, shirts, tops, dresses. Just play around with the shape until you find a design you like. You can also make asymmetrical pattern pieces like this Butterick 5852 fitted asymmetrical color block dress sewing pattern. I know that I shared patchwork and block designs already, but I think this is a slightly different idea, because instead of creating fabric with patchwork, you're instead using asymmetrical pattern pieces, and you can either let the design or your body decide the shape of these asymmetrical designs, or you can let the fabric piece guide you for a more zero waste approach. Here's another really cute dress with asymmetrical bias, and it's the Butterick 6047 sewing pattern. I think it's from the 70s, and it's really adorable. And another fun design that I found is this vintage Butterick sewing pattern. It's the 4645 women's dress with a couple of different asymmetrical details on the skirt. And I just wanted to show you this one because it's a bit different than the other designs, and just shows how you can play around with the design to create different asymmetrical details. Another idea to use your scraps for is for fun garment details, everything from pockets, pocket bags, linings, neckbands, neckband facings, waistbands, hembands, what else? Cuffs, and so on. Scraps are also perfect to make the insides of your garments beautiful. I always try to use fun pocket bags, bias binding. In my opinion, this is really where you can elevate your me-made garments. You can also totally mix and match fabrics, like this beautiful Caroline pyjama made by Stars Thread on Instagram. I just love how she has combined 3 different types of fabrics and used them all over the garment. I was also really inspired by Matteo_Sophia_, who recently made this beautiful Jade's coat from Grainline Studio, and she used a camel colored Harris tweed, which she mixed with this beautiful camel colored pink plaid Harris tweed as well. I do not think this was a scrap project at all, but I think this could be a scrap project if you have leftover tweed or wool coating in your stash. I think that would make a really beautiful coat, just having different fabrics on different parts of the coats like this. Turn your messy scraps into beautiful trims. This is a great idea to do if you feel really uninspired by your stash. I like the idea of taking something that looks like waste. All we know, scraps are not waste. But you know what I mean? It's like something that doesn't look inspiring and then turn it into something really beautiful. It's one of those design challenges I like to try out once in a while to challenge myself. Can I make this seemingly ugly and boring thing into something that will blow my mind? And making trims out of your scraps is a little bit like that. One thing I already do with my scraps is to turn them into bias binding, but you can also make pleated ruffles, piping, ruffles, flounces, etc. Tilly in the Buttons has on their YouTube channel a really good tutorial on how you can make a ruffle hem for one of their pajama buttons, and I will link to that tutorial in my blog post, as well as another Tilly in the Buttons tutorial of how to make a lettuce hem on your overlocker, which you can use to make ruffles, trims, bottoms of bodices, sleeves, etc. I also love how Tilly placed her ruffles on the shoulder here, and yeah, it just shows how you can be creative with your trims and with your scraps. I will link to both tutorials as well as other tutorials on how to make pleated trims, piping, etc. So go and check out my blog post after this video if this is of interest to you. You can also be really creative when you make your trims, like making this really cute and bubbly trim from Fred's magazine. I also found this beautiful rococo ruffled trim from the Pragmatic Costumer, or you can make this beautiful roller trim. As you can see, there are so many ways to make fun trimmings, so I think you just can play around with your fabrics, and that leads me to my next suggestion. Dare to experiment. If it's fabrics that are left over from my previous projects, do you really have anything to lose if it doesn't work out? Get yourself one of my favorite books, which is The Art of Manipulating Fabric, and then just start to experiment, play around, and try out many of the techniques that are illustrated in this book. And the techniques in these books are gathering, ruffles, flounces, goated, pleating, smocking, tucking, quilting, stuffing, how to use darts and mix the different manipulations, and much more. And that was just a little quick summary of what this book covers. You can do so many fun things, and if your fabric manipulation turns out well, maybe you will be able to use it in your next project. One of the techniques that I recently revisited is how to pleat fabrics, because currently I'm working on this blazer dress which will have a pleated skirt. So I've been recently working on pleating the fabric for the skirt, and I didn't have a massive piece of fabric to make the skirt from because it's upcycled from an old dress. But when you pleat fabric, you will need quite a lot of it, so you will anyway join several pieces of fabric together, and then this seam will then be hidden inside a pleat. Anyway, that made me think that pleating actually can be a really great way to use up scraps, because you will anyway need to hide those seams and nobody will know that you have used scraps. If you have done any fun scrap busting recently, let us all know in a comment down below. Let's inspire each other to bust those fabric scraps. I really hope my suggestions have got your creative uses going and that you now know what to do with your scraps. And if you know anyone who also has an overflowing fabric stash full of scraps, do not forget to share this video with them. And until next time, bye!